Busy week and issues around the State of the Nation address and the NEC meeting being postponed, and of course the question that we all want the answer to is what happens next, and to assist us unpack that, when President Jacob Zuma is going to resign, we're now joined by the SABC specialist researcher Ronesh Dhawraj. Thanks very much for joining us on the line and in our studios in Durban, Ronesh. So it's been a busy week, and I suppose for many of us, when it started, we had all our dates in our calendars, and for all intents and purposes, President Zuma was going to present the State of the Nation. What do you make of the things that have happened this week?
Yeah, absolutely historic piece. Good evening, and good evening obviously to the viewers of SABC 3 and Channel 404. Yeah, very eventful couple of days for the entire country. The whole of the country is watching with bated breath. We also have the African continent watching South Africa very, very closely. The global world is also watching what's going to happen in South Africa post what took place at Nasrec, where a new leadership was elected for the ruling and governing ANC. Well, we all expected President Jacob Zuma to heed the party's call. We do know that he has met with the National Working Committee of the ANC. They went to his residence in Pretoria, tried to convince him that he needs to make way for the new ANC president. A new leadership is in town since December. The ANC is also in planning stages for next year's general elections, which we expect to happen anytime between May and August 2019. So the ANC really needs a lot of work to do, lots of groundwork to do to make up lost ground, so to speak, following the 2016 local government elections. We all know what happened there. The ANC suffered serious setbacks in terms of their vote tallies. The ANC got just around 54% of the eventual vote. It lost the major metros in Gauteng, especially we are looking at Tshwane, Johannesburg. Its vote was dented in Ekurhuleni, where the ANC was forced to go into a coalition with the AIC and other smaller parties. Then obviously we know Nelson Mandela Bay Metro also went to the DA and an opposition coalition. So the ANC is really on the back foot, and a lot of these problems and troubles are and certainly were attributable to the former ANC President Jacob Zuma. So that's why there is this need for Jacob Zuma to possibly step aside and allow the new administration that was elected at Nasrec in Gauteng perhaps to do a little bit, a bit of reputation damage, because the ANC has suffered a number of setbacks. We all know that, apart from what happened at the local government elections and the ANC declining in voter support, we also got allegations around the current South African president around state capture, around the kind of friends that he associates himself with. We know what's happening at the state-owned entities like SAA, PRASA, Eskom especially. We saw that, a lot of changes were made to the Eskom board just before Cyril Ramaphosa, the ANC president, left for Davos. So a whole number of issues to consider. And, the State of the Nation of the address was a culmination of that, the postponement of the State of the Nation address. So watch that space very closely. We hope to possibly have State of the Nation address in the next 2 weeks or so.
All right, okay. Some people are suggesting it could be next week, Thursday. This was kind of a hint that we got from Baleka Mbete a little bit earlier on, but we wait to see. In the meantime, there does seem to be an angst or a tension in the country at the moment. People almost want something to happen so that they get clarity. And this is something that the ANC needs to manage as well. And I saw that the president of the party released a statement today recognizing that.
Yeah, very interesting, Peter. He did release a statement, and for me, a couple of things actually stood out, and I have the statement in front of me. It's very interesting that when the Speaker of the National Assembly, Baleka Mbete, and the NCOP chairperson, Thandi Modise, spoke to the media yesterday on the steps of the National Assembly, this word constructive was used very, very often in that statement. When I looked at Cyril Ramaphosa's statement earlier today, released by the ANC National Spokesperson, Pule Mabe, I picked up those very same words. words. Constructive was used twice, and discussions, amazingly, was used 3 times. But then my mind also went to some very, very descriptive words that the president used, the ANC president used. He used words such as speculation, anxiety, clarify, cause for concern, discussions, uncertainty, these concerns, discord, division. And this kind of baffles my mind, because here we have an ANC, a newly elected ANC leadership that was elected at Nasrec between 16 and 20 December 2017. They came out of the conference preaching this thing of unity. And suddenly we had Ace Magashule, the current Secretary General of the ANC. He recently spoke in KZN, and he made a very divisive comment about the current ANC leadership, saying something to the tune of this leadership only has 5 years and we need to plan after those 5 years. So already he's pre-planning, because he was, allegedly, on the other side of the Cyril Ramaphosa faction. So all these divisions are kind of manifesting, and I think that's the reason Cyril Ramaphosa, as the ANC president, he needs to be very decisive. And if you look at the sentiment, the chatter amongst Twitter users and Facebook users on social media, everyone's talking about Cyril Ramaphosa. Why is he not acting decisively when it comes to Jacob Zuma as the South African president? Enough damage has been done. The president needs to step in, do what the NEC did back in 2008 when it came to the 2 centers of power, when we spoke about Jacob Zuma as the ANC president, and then we had Thabo Mbeki, who was the president of the country at that time. Thabo Mbeki, in his statement to the South African public, he spoke about being a loyal and a loyal deployee of the ANC. So the same kind of similarities are being brought up, asking why can't Jacob Zuma take a feather from Thabo Mbeki's cap and just do the honorable thing of resigning. We had a couple of civil society organizations as well. We had the Nelson Mandela Foundation yesterday again releasing a statement urging President Jacob Zuma to step down in the interests of the country. We also had Future SA or Save SA also urging the president to do the honorable thing, do the right thing, save the country any more unnecessary humiliation, and just step aside and make way for the new ANC leadership to correct things before the 2019 elections.
All right, Ronesh, and perhaps finally, they talk about these discussions. What on earth could they be still talking about that needs ironing out? What are they debating? What are they negotiating?
Well, Peter, you cannot underestimate the fact that Jacob Zuma, the current South African president, is a very skilled politician. He's a strategist. He's been part of the ANC's highest decision-making body, the National Executive Committee, or the NEC, for a number of years, for a number of decades. Amazingly, no one brings this point that he has also been part of the ANC's top 6 leadership since the ANC's unbanning in 1990. In 91, he was the deputy to Cyril Ramaphosa as Secretary General. He was the Deputy Secretary General. In 94, he was elected chairperson of the party. And then between 97 to 2007, he was elected Deputy President to Thabo Mbeki. From 2007 to 2017 onward, he served as President of the 160-year-old ANC. So he's a very, very powerful politician in that sense. And he knows how to maneuver his way. He's playing his cards very close to his chest. And he knows that somehow for me, the subtext is that he knows that the leadership that was elected at Nasrec in December last year was not won with a huge majority. If you look at the vote between Cyril Ramaphosa and Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, the vote difference was just 179. And the rest of the top 6 leadership, the vote was split, 50, 51, 52, 53. It wasn't a major majority. So I think they are using more that vote to say we have support within the party. You did not win a whole majority. So I think he's trying to gain more leverage in that sense, perhaps pushing a few more concessions, buying his time. And my guess, despite all the social media sentiment, I've mentioned this on radio interviews and to some of my colleagues at the SABC, I somehow suspect that Jacob Zuma will give some indication to the NEC that he will step down, but give him some time just to ensure continuity in terms of the administration between Luthuli House and government. And I suspect he will not go before June this year, somehow or the other. That's my estimate or guess.
Okay, Ronesh, we'll leave it there, but I think you might be the only person at the moment who's got that view. But stranger things have happened. Thanks so much indeed for your insights this evening.